The 1986 Nissan 200 from Laguna Seca Raceway in Monterey, California is brought to you by Nissan, who invites you to test drive the totally new 1987 Nissan Stanza at your Nissan dealer now. Honda Motorcycles, Honda, follow the leader. And by Yamaha, built for the fun of it.
Hello and welcome to Monterey, California. We're here at Laguna Seca Raceway. Boy, what a beautiful facility it is. We're here for the Nissan 200, one of the most prestigious motorcycle races in the United States. We're going to be watching Superbikes and Formula One and all kinds of competition. I'm Bruce Flanders, and along with me to call the action is Mr. Keith Code. Keith, Cycle News calls you the guru of motorcycle road racing. Why?
Well, we've had over 10,000 students come through my Superbike school, and it is a road racing school. I've written a couple of books on the subject. Many of my students have gone on to become international and national stars, and this title has stuck, and I'm willing to accept it.
National and international stars. Boy, we have got a stellar lineup in this Formula One category this weekend.
The Formula One is fantastic. We've got 3 of Europe's best, and we've got 3 of America's best, and they're going to be going at it head-to-head. The Europeans are here for prestige. The Americans are here for their Camel Pro points, going for that #1 title.
We're looking forward to the Formula One races and also to the Superbike races. To find out more about Wayne Rainey and all the other stars in Superbike, let's join now Dennis Torres down in the pit lane.
Thanks, Bruce. The AMA Superbike title chase has been a dogfight ever since the first race back in March in Florida. Daytona, the world center of racing and the annual curtain raiser for the road racing season, the Daytona 200. Round 1 of the Superbike Championship was a showcase for Yamaha and Eddie Lawson. Making a rare Superbike start, the 2-time Superbike and 1984 world champion dominated the entire weekend. Lawson took pole position, won his qualifying heat race, and ran away with the Daytona 200. Joining Lawson in the Daytona winner's circle were second place Kevin Schwantz and defending Superbike champion and third place Fred Merkel. From Florida, the Superbike series headed west to Sears Point Raceway just outside San Francisco. Kevin Schwantz rode the wheels off his Suzuki only to have a potential win taken away from him for passing under a yellow flag. Number 6 Wayne Rainey nipped Schwantz at the finish, but was also penalized for the same infraction. Third on the track, but first, as far as the race officials were concerned, was Honda's Fred Merkel. Team Yamaha skipped the next 2 rounds due to engine casting problems back in Japan. Rather than risk injury to their 2 riders, they decided to stay away for 2 races. The Brainerd field was also without Kevin Schwantz, who injured his collarbone in a practice crash. With Suzuki and Yamaha out of the picture, the race became a battle between Team Honda's Wayne Rainey and Fred Merkel. Rainey ended up the dominant winner as Merkel could not catch his teammate after being forced to start at the back of the grid due to a DNF in his heat race. Still, Merkel held a slight lead in the standings. The ultra-fast Road America circuit was next. With Suzuki and Yamaha still on the disabled list, it was a Team Honda show again. For the second race in a row, it was number 6 Wayne Rainey leading number 1 Fred Merkel across the line. Merkel's consistent finishes in each race and Rainey's penalty at Sears Point kept defending champ Merkel atop the standings. Yamaha made its return at the Loudon Classic, but once again, it was the red, white, and blue of Team Honda showing the way. For the 3rd time in as many races, it was Rainey and Merkel 1-2. Number 67 Grand National Champion Bubba Schobert showed his prowess on a motorcycle is not relegated to only the dirt. Schobert took his year-old Honda Interceptor to a fine 3rd place. Pocono, Pennsylvania, and round 6 of the championship saw the return of Kevin Schwantz. Most felt the Suzuki rider would give the Hondas a run for their money, but it was not to be. For the 4th consecutive race, Rainey dominated the proceedings and was backed up by his teammate Merkel. Schwantz settled for a lonely 3rd place. Here at Laguna Seca, Merkel holds a slight lead over Rainey in the standings, but Flying Fred did not help his championship cause by crashing in his heat race. The result? Merkel must start at the back of the grid along with Kevin Schwantz, who had mechanical problems in his heat race. Rainey, meanwhile, with 4 straight wins, remains the hottest rider in the series and sits on the pole. Bruce?
Wayne Rainey sits on the pole for the Superbike race, but behind him is a stellar lineup of riders who want to win it too. We're coming right back for the Superbike race on the Nissan 200 weekend here at Laguna.
It is, riders agree, the most demanding circuit in America. Enough of the map. Let's put you behind the handlebars for a hot lap at Laguna Seca. Here's turn 1. The rider takes it tight by the armco, lets it swing wide. We're starting the fastest section of the course. This is turn 2. It's banked. The rider feels the G-forces. He's accelerating up through the gears. We're approaching the fastest section of the course. This is turn 3. We're at 145 miles an hour. That one's banked too. We're with Ottis Lance on his Yamaha FZ750 Superbike, coming up through the Camel Pro Bridge into turn 4. This is a no-mistakes turn. There's armco barrier behind those hay bales. Now, you notice you can't see anything? Well, in a second, it'll be appearing, the 2 most famous turns in the United States. This is the corkscrew. You can see the drop away. Here are the riders accelerating down into turn 7, beginning to pick up some speed, going down, back down into the pit area. Here are the bumps in the inside. You've got to be careful over those things. You can accelerate and spin out very easily. Coming up through the gears, going into the sweeper, turn 8. There's the pit lane entrance on your left, and here the rider is, coming down through the gears, braking very hard. This is the slowest turn on the track. It's 40 miles an hour. Onto the front straightaway again at Laguna Seca. Pull a wheelie, flash the V sign, come across the Nissan bridge. That's the start-finish line, and you've done a lap at Laguna Seca.
Now that we've taken a look at the racetrack, let's set up the field for the Superbike race coming next. There are 35 starters, 7 rows, 5 riders in each row. And on the front row, full of factory-backed racing equipment, we find on the pole, number 6, Wayne Rainey on the Honda. He's won 4 in a row already this season. Next to him, the youngest rider in the field at age 18, rider number 30, John Kosinski on the Yamaha. In the middle of the row, mounted on a Honda, 67, the current Grand National champion on the dirt track circuit, Bubba Schobert. Then in the 4th qualifying position, Suzuki mounted, number 96, one of the best in America, Randy Renfro. And on the outside of the front row, factory Yamaha, a championship rider on the dirt, number 17, Jimmy Felice. Quite a field, especially when you go back to the very last row and find number 1, the champion, Fred Merkel. Now the final countdown to the start. As the riders put it down into first gear, get poised. We're waiting for an AMA green flag, and here it comes. The field thundering at you right now. A perfect start, it looked like, by number 6, Wayne Rainey. 67, Bubba Schobert also got a very good start out of that field, but they've got some distance to go now. Another good start happened in the back. That was number 1, Fred Merkel. He went by an awful lot of guys from the very back row. But it is Wayne Rainey hurrying up to speed right now, and it looks, Keith, like they might be asking a lot out of the tires that are not warm yet.
They've got to be careful. They look like they're going fast, and they are. Rainey and Schobert are pulling away from the pack. They mean business. Schobert's out there for those points. Rainey's out there for a championship.
Here we come, past us now, over on the backside of the racetrack, and it is Rainey in front of it, Schobert in second, but Merkel, what a start by the number 1 rider off the back of the pack. He's passed 7 or 8 riders and is really cooking through traffic. There's number 6, in front of it still, Wayne Rainey, as they come around Schobert, and a nice move in there by number 30, young John Kosinski, who remains in the top 5 position. And who was that? That was Schwantz right there.
That was Kevin Schwantz. That's a Suzuki rider, and he's doing very well. He's moving up through the pack himself. He was starting on the back row as well.
Off of the turn 9, the slowest portion of the racetrack. Here's Rainey trying to crawl under the paint and tears off a tearaway at the same time. As lap 1 now goes into the books. Jimmy Felice, number 17, seems to be backpedaling, but number 1, Merkel, what a move. This guy's passed almost half the field so far.
Rainey's got the jump on him. It's going to be hard for Merkel to catch him up now. Merkel's still got to work his way through the pack. Rainey's using every inch of pavement. He's going up in that fast section on his Superbike. He's up to 140 miles an hour. That's a 130-mile-an-hour turn there.
Pair of Hondas in front of it at the moment and trying to stretch the distance over number 30, the 18-year-old Kosinski, who sits in the 3rd place spot. It's early in this Superbike race, but we are really winding this machinery out to the maximum. Through the corkscrew, once again, and there goes the leader.
Rainey's definitely on the move now. He's got the tires on that Honda warmed up, and you can see that he's on the gas. Here he is coming into turn 7 and down the hill towards the pit. Oh, he almost lost it on those bumps on the outside of turn 7.
Boy, it takes a pro to keep an act like that together. Wayne Rainey maintains the lead when a lot of people would have been out in the weeds. We're coming back for more of this excitement from Laguna Seca in weekend here at Laguna Seca in Monterey, California. And that's number 6, leading the Superbike category, Wayne Rainey. From wire to wire so far, it's been his race. What a commanding lead. He's now got over 2nd place on the factory Honda. Kevin Schwantz, apparently mechanical problems. Keith Cote, it looks like his day is done.
Schwantz has been plagued with problems all year long on that Yoshimura Suzuki. It looks like he's run into another one now.
He was as high as 4th place at one point in this event, but now he looks rather dejected. Over the top of the hill comes number 1, Fred Merkel. We've been following him through this event. He started way in the back, at the very back row, but he has made his way through, clear up now to 3rd place in this event. It's been an amazing ride by Mr. Merkel. Now, it's interesting to note that Honda has a factory team here, and that involves Wayne Rainey and Fred Merkel. Now, Dennis Torres had a chance earlier to visit with them, and you'll find out that they're not only teammates, but they've got a race against each other, too.
You know, I mean, he's leading me, and we're trying to beat each other, just like I'm trying to beat everybody else. But, you know, we are a team, and there's no, you know, duke-out fights or nothing just because we're trying to beat each other.
It is said in many forms of motorsport that your teammate is the biggest competition you have. You're competing on equal machinery, and therefore that you can gauge each other's performance a little bit better. Does it give you more satisfaction to beat your teammate or beat another mark, or how does that work?
Well, you know, we are on the same bikes, and, you know, if somebody else was going to beat us, I'd be happy to be the first Honda. And, yeah, I look at Fred as I do Kevin Schwantz or Jim Felice. You know, I'm out there to beat him and everybody else.
First off, we're both riders for Team Honda. There is no team orders, and we have to do as well as we can do. Wayne has been doing very good back east. He got 4 firsts, and I finished 4 seconds. It's just, we're friends, but we're also teammates, and when it comes to the racetrack, it's business. And you make more money when you finish first, so I'm not finishing second on purpose.
Besides the rider competition here at Team Honda, there's a competition between the people setting up the machines for both Wayne Rainey and Fred Merkel.
There's probably mechanic competition. If there wasn't mechanic competition, we probably wouldn't have our jobs and wouldn't do the job that we do. All in all, I think it's a real good team effort, and the bottom line is we just want Honda to win. If something was happening to Wayne, I'd be the first guy to jump over and help Fred if he needed it, and I'm sure Mike and Merlin would do the same thing.
It appears as though they'll be celebrating in the Honda camp tonight, as they've got the top 3 spots locked down and the last lap flag is flying. So far, the story has been number 6, Wayne Rainey, and he has been magnificent. Now, Keith Cote, he's a graduate of your Superbike school, isn't he?
That's right. Rainey came out to the Superbike school in 1981, and I've been working with him ever since. His aspirations are actually to be in Europe, riding that Formula One bike on the World Championship. But here he is with 5 in a row in the Superbike Series in the United States.
That's number 67, Bubba Schobert, almost losing it on the last lap. Schobert is going to nail down second as the checkered flag flies for Rainey. Schobert will get second. The 3rd place spot is going to go to Merkel. It's going to be Hondas in the top 3 spots, and there's some happiness on the cool-down lap. Look at him working the crowd as he goes by.
That's 5 in a row for Rainey. He's happy. That puts him 1 point in the lead over Fred Merkel. There's his friend, Bubba Schobert, coming up there. They're both going to be celebrating tonight.
The checkered flag is still flying, and here comes the race for 5th place. Number 30, Young Kosinski might get it over Gary Goodfellow, the Canadian, and he does by, what, about a half a bike length. Well, what a finish for them. The top 5 finishing order looks like this. Wayne Rainey for the win. Schobert gets 2nd. Merkel 3rd. Felice 4th. And young John Kosinski nailed down the 5th place spot. Let's go now to the victory circle where the party starts. And Dennis Torres.
Down here in winner's circle, the big winner, Wayne Rainey of Team Honda. Wayne, the idea is supposed to be racing, but you never let anybody close to you in the last 5 races.
Well, I got a real good motorcycle, and I got a real good crew, Rob Buzzy and Sparky Edmondson work on my bikes, and without them, I couldn't have the lead that we get.
Wayne, were there any problems out there? It looked rather flawless out there.
No, I just kind of rode my own race out there, and there was a rock that bounced across the track, and I hit it, and I don't know where it came from. It came across the track. I don't know if somebody threw it or something, but that was the only problem really encountered.
Wayne, you know you've taken the lead now in the Superbike standings. How do you feel about that?
I'm really happy. It's been, you know, after they took that win away, and we finally took over the lead, and I'd like to thank Bubba Schobert for getting 2nd and putting me in the lead.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Dennis.
Wayne Rainey of Team Honda, the dominant winner in the Superbike race.
Well, it was a dynamite Superbike race, and our congratulations go to the winner, Wayne Rainey. And we've got a lot more. The Formula motorcycles in the Nissan 200 coming up next. And we are ready for one of the most exciting races. We've all been looking forward to this one with anticipation. It's the Formula One final. Keith Code, any predictions before that green flag drops?
As we had predicted earlier, Bruce, the European competitors, the Americans who have been on the Grand Prix circuit, have absolutely devastated the whole situation here. Kenny Roberts' lap record has been broken by half a second by Mike Baldwin. Last year's winner, Randy Momola, has qualified just 0.2 of a second slower than that. Eddie Lawson on the Team Yamaha machine, just 1/10 slower than that. This is going to be incredible competition.
One of the riders who competes in both the Superbike, where you saw him just smoke everybody a while ago, will also be taking a start in Formula One, and he's capable of competing at the top levels all over the world. Wayne Rainey. Watch for him around the racetracks every time. We've got a chance to visit with him. Keith Code talked with him earlier.
We're here at the start-finish line at Laguna Seca, and we've got examples of the two machines that will be used in the major forms of competition here this weekend. Here, the Formula One machine, born and bred for racing only. Over here, the Superbike. You can buy one on your Honda dealer's showroom floor. Wayne, what are the major differences between these two machines?
Well, the basic difference is the Formula One bike is lighter. You ride on the bike more in a cramped-up position. And the Superbike, you set up more on it because the handlebars are higher than the Formula One bike.
Wayne, this Formula One machine is a 200-mile-an-hour bike. The 750cc Superbike is about 160, 170-mile-an-hour machine. How can they produce such similar lap times here at a track like Laguna Seca?
Well, at a track here like Laguna Seca, there's short straightaways with real fast turns separating the straights. So the Formula One bike gets there a lot quicker than the Superbike does. So when you do enter the turns, you have to slow down quite a bit more than you do on the Superbike. But the Superbike has more weight, and you can actually go around the turn almost as fast as you can on the Formula One bike. On acceleration, the Formula One bike spins real easy, whereas the Superbike tracks real good. If the straightaways were a little bit longer here, we'd see much greater speed differences.
Wayne, the Formula One machine here will go 200 miles an hour. Your 750cc Superbike will go about 175 miles an hour. Now, they're probably both scary, but which is the scariest to ride?
Well, I think the Formula One bike is, for me, it accelerates so fast from 20 to 150 in 6 seconds. Set your eyes back in your head. When you enter the turns, it doesn't want to slow down because it's so light and we're going so fast. When you accelerate out of the turns, the back tire spins real easy and wants to wheelie, and it doesn't really want to stay on the racetrack. So you really, you have to try to tame the bike, but all along you're thinking about it taming you, so it's kind of a compromise out there.
There you have it. Formula One, 750cc Superbike. Which one would you like to ride?
It doesn't matter whether you're throwing your leg over a Superbike or a Formula One bike. You're going to find some fast machinery underneath you. The Formula One race here at Laguna Seca will be running two 100-kilometer legs. In the interest of time, we'll be highlighting the first leg, since the second leg carries with it more weight in the overall Olympic scoring format. The first two places in the initial leg were captured by Team Roberts riders, Randy Momola and Mike Baldwin. Superbike race winner Wayne Rainey led early and finished third, while Randy Renfro, the American Formula One points leader, wound up fourth. Four-time world champion Cork Ballington was fifth. Where was Eddie Lawson, you ask? Unfortunately, Lawson was involved in this horrific accident while battling with Baldwin and Momola. Lawson suffered a bruised collarbone and elbow and was finished for the day. In slow motion, you can see Lawson being pushed to the outside by a back marker onto the marbles. He loses traction, and he's into the dirt where the rear end slides out and high-sides him out of control into the hay bales. With Lawson out of the picture, the two green and white Yamahas of Randy Momola and Mike Baldwin battled each other for the first leg win. In the midst of this battle, the carnage continued. Here, Canadian Miles Baldwin tests his leathers to the limits while his bike goes down tumbling end over end and finally ends up upside down. Baldwin rose up after the spill, but fell back onto the pavement. He escaped serious injury and could be seen later making his way back to the pits under his own power. Let's go down now to Dennis Torres.
Before we get to the second Formula One leg, let's take a look back at some of the other action here at Laguna Seca, starting out with the Battle of the Twins. When you think of the Battle of the Twins, you think of New Yorker Jimmy Adamo and his tuner mentor and Garden State neighbor, Reno Leone. Together, they have contested every Twins race since the series' inception, giving this class, which is open to only twin-cylinder powered machines, credibility. Under the watchful and cunning eye of Leone, Adamo has won more BOTT races than anyone. Unfortunately for Adamo fans at Laguna, the Cagiva Ducati rider came into this weekend's race with a severely injured hand, which prevented him from even twisting the throttle without this ingenious invention. Thus, the race favorite became this man, also Cagiva Ducati mounted, Marco Lucky Lucanelli, the 1981 world champion. Lucky Lucanelli was making his second start in the U.S. this year and his first at Laguna Seca.
It's important to go fast. After the straight, you don't see the track, and normally you want to close the gas, but if you want to make time, it's necessary open. And after the corner, the number 7 is incredible. You don't see nothing, and this for me is the most important for make time.
Challenging the two Cagiva-mounted riders was North Carolina's Gene Church aboard the number 8 Harley-Davidson. At the start of the 21-lap race, Adamo grabbed the lead. But before the end of the first lap, it was obvious his hand injury would be too much to overcome. Church and his Harley-Davidson soon pushed to the front and began to pull away from the field. But before you could say Marco Lucky Lucanelli, the Italian superstar had caught and passed the Harley rider. Church later crashed, attempting to keep up with the former champ. With Church out of the way, Lucanelli cruised to the win. Laguna fans could have witnessed the last hurrah in a most productive career, as Lucanelli said this would probably be his last race on 2 wheels. Lucanelli says he's moving to 4 wheels and has already made serious inroads in European Formula cars. Buona fortuna, Marco. Another rider who's thinking of moving on is Formula 2 standout Don Green of Novato, California. Green has been the dominant force in this class, thought of as the training ground for Grand Prix hopefuls. Number 1 Green has owned this class over the past few years, although this year he has had his hands full with Virginia rider Randy Renfro. Renfro was absent from this Laguna Seca race, but Superbike star Kevin Schwantz made a rare appearance at the F2 affair and proved to be Green's biggest competition. Schwantz, number 76, dueled with Green until Schwantz threw it away and handed Green an easy win and his 3rd Formula 2 national title. Congratulations, Don Green, 1986 Formula 2 national champion, crowned here in the Nissan 200 weekend at Laguna Seca.
We're down now to the biggest portion of the weekend, the final leg of the Nissan 200, and it's coming at you right
down in my local cycle shop to pick up a copy of Cycle News. But lately, I've been thinking about subscribing.
America's weekly motorcycle newspaper. To subscribe to Cycle News at half the retail price, call toll-free.
Welcome back to Monterey, California for the final leg of the Nissan 200. The Formula One motorcycles are on the grid, and Kenny Roberts, the manager of one of the teams, checking over his own entries rather closely. The tires are warmed up just a little bit. We're almost set to go. Let's introduce the front row. On the pole, number 1, Mike Baldwin on a Yamaha. He was second in the first leg of competition. Number 8, Randy Mamola, also Yamaha. He won the first leg. Then number 99, Cork Ballington on the Honda, 4-time world champion. Number 6, Wayne Rainey, who's had a great weekend on the Honda. And they are about ready to go. The Nissan 200 is now underway. This is going to be good. Number 6, Rainey gets out first. Another dynamite start for him, Keith.
Rainey's trying to repeat his Superbike performance. Here he is on a 3-cylinder Honda. Right behind him, Cork Ballington on another 3-cylinder Honda. They're visibly slower. The Yamahas of the Kenny Roberts team of Mike Baldwin and Randy Mamola definitely had power on him. Rainey's not waiting around for him, though.
These are Formula One bikes. There is nothing faster anywhere in the world and nothing that stops like these do. And we're at speed right now on the 1.9-mile Laguna Seca road race course. Wayne Rainey, number 6 on the Honda, leads them as they come through the corkscrew area. 99, Cork Ballington second. Then it looks like number 8, Mamola, and number 1, Baldwin, and it is good.
Rainey's showing us his expertise. He's one of the few riders in the world that can ride both Superbikes and the Formula One machine. We've already seen what he can do on the Superbikes. Let's see what he's going to do on his Formula One bike.
You know, the Sports Car Racing Association of the Monterey Peninsula manages this particular racetrack, and they do a fabulous job. This motorcycle weekend is one of the biggest things that happens on 2 wheels anywhere in the western United States. And we'd like to thank Lee Moselle and all the guys from Scramp for having us here this weekend. And as we look down now, I think we've got a new leader. It's number 1, Mike Baldwin, the 5-time Formula One United States champion out of Darien, Connecticut. And Keith, he looks like he's hooked up and working.
Baldwin's here on a cameo performance for Team Roberts. He's lying 4th in the world standings at the moment, and he's definitely going to win this race.
Boy, it's ideal racing conditions today here at Laguna Seca as you see the front 4 come motoring past us. Now, if you look back, you'll see the break to the 5th place rider. That's number 96, Randy Renfro, who currently leads the United States Formula 1 Points Championship, and he can't keep in touch with him. Baldwin in front over the top of the hill, Rainey second, Momola third, and then Ballington, and they're really motoring. The stopwatch has them at a 1:06 flat on the last lap. That's faster than they qualified, Keith.
That's right. Here they are. They're taking advantage of this two-leg race, the 200 kilometers in the Nissan 200. Everybody's had a chance to ride the track for 100 kilometers, find out what the weak points are on their bike, especially the tires, and they've got them fitted up now. They're running way faster than they qualified.
Look at the front wheel clawing at the sky as Baldwin tries to pull out some distance right there. Comes under the Nissan stripe. There's a great battle shaping up for that 2nd place spot. This is speed. This is really high speed, and they really handled Laguna Seca well. The Nissan 2, the leader, number 1, Baldwin. Right behind him, number 8, Randy Momola. And Momola is definitely hard on the throttle trying to close up the distance. Both of these guys ride for the same team, King Kenny Roberts Yamahas, and they are fast. Now, we've got a report that Wayne Rainey is down in the corkscrew. Apparently no injury involved, but it puts number 99, Cork Ballington, up into the 3rd place spot. Now, we had an opportunity earlier to take a look at the infamous corkscrew at Laguna Seca, and Dennis Torres is going to show that to you right now.
The corkscrew here at Laguna Seca, one of the most unique turns in all of motorsports. The quick left-right flick of a turn has gained the respect of many a motorcycle road racer.
The corkscrew it's important not to fall down in the corkscrew, and I kind of treat the corkscrew like it's important not to lose time through there as opposed to trying to make time through the corkscrew. I try to be very smooth through the corkscrew, get a very good entrance, get down into it, and get out of it quickly, but I don't spend a lot of time concentrating on how fast I can actually get through the center part of the corkscrew. It's a very dangerous corner. I think you'll find that half of the falls that happened this weekend on 9 turns happen in the corkscrew, which is only 1 corner. So I think it's important to be very cautious through the corkscrew.
Well, I attacked it a little bit too hard last year and crashed in practice and really broke my foot real bad. And I think I'm going to attack it a little easier this year. It's kind of a different corner. We don't have any corners like that throughout the rest of the season at any of the other racetracks. It's basically this racetrack where we have to deal with that. It's nothing where you have to change your riding style or anything, but the motorcycle has to be set up a little different. It takes a pounding coming down the hill, and you use more suspension than you do at other racetracks. So you have to set the bike up just a little different.
Television can sometimes be deceiving. You can't really appreciate the drop-off here at the corkscrew until you're here watching personally. To see just what a drop-off it is, watch.
Well, through Dennis Torres' clever use of props, we've all got a little bit better idea about the infamous corkscrew here at Laguna Seca. And now the 3rd place rider, number 99, Cork Ballington, comes through the corkscrew. The 4-time world champion, most of those titles on lightweight bikes. Wow, look at that. A lead change, and they almost sucked the goggles off on that back marker rider when they went by, Keith.
That's right, Bruce. Competition is the name of the game at Laguna Seca. Momola catching Baldwin with such a lead is really quite an unprecedented charge.
Through this unprecedented charge, Keith Code, what gets used up more, the rider or the equipment?
Tire wear is always a problem, Bruce. Both of these riders could run into tire problems before this event is over.
Well, we'll be watching the tire problems right now. It's the leaders through the corkscrew again, and it is number 8, Momola, in front of number 1. And we'll be back to Laguna Seca. Seca Raceway has hosted America's best motorcycle road racers. The 1985 meeting was another example of two-wheel competition at its finest. The 85 field included King Kenny Roberts, this country's most famous motorcycle racer, and Randy Momola, his former protege. Both riders are natives of Northern California, and both had legions of fans spectating on the picturesque hills overlooking the circuit. In the first of 2 legs, Roberts and Momola battled at a torrid pace. Roberts, who was riding his first race since the previous year at Laguna, showed no signs of rust. Instead, he displayed the skill that won him 3 World Championship titles. Momola, a 3-time bridesmaid in the World Championship, hung close to Roberts and provided the fans with what proved to be a classic battle. In the end, Roberts took the win, but by a few bike lengths over Momola. In the second leg, the Roberts-Momola battle raged on, but at the halfway point, disaster for the man called the King. Robert's transmission jammed. Kenny tried everything to free the gears, but his mount had betrayed him. Momola went on to take the win in the second leg and the overall prize, while Robert showed why he's called this country's greatest racer, beating the rest of the field on a crippled machine to take an incredible second overall. This flashback has been brought to you by Nissan. Here's that very same Kenny Roberts 1 year later and looking fit and trim in his role as a team manager now, Keith.
It must be difficult for Kenny to have gone over, won the World Championship 3 times, come back over to Laguna Seca with a year off and done so well, now standing here on the pit wall watching his own riders. I know it must be painful for him to do it, but he's doing very well in the role of team manager.
Yeah, well, Robert's rather anxiously looking on as his 2 teammates now smoke in the field here at Laguna Seca. Number 8, Momola, is out in front of it. Number 1, Baldwin, right on his exhaust pipes as they come around. Now, these 2 guys riding for a former world champion like they are, we wondered whether or not it added any pressure to their riding style.
It doesn't add pressure. Kenny actually takes the pressure off of me, personally, because he knows what I can do, and he doesn't expect, you know, me to win the World Championship my first year over there, but he knows what I can do, and he helps me, and everything he's done is taking the pressure off of me. He does know that he can go fast, and I know that he can do it, and when I'm racing, I have to always think, just make sure that you're going hard enough that you'd be able to beat the boss if he was out there.
And what about Randy Momola? Once under the tutelage of Roberts, Momola broke away from KR to become one of his toughest rivals. Now, 1986 sees Momola once again under the critical eye of Roberts.
It's hard not to be perfect in front of him. You have to try to be that perfect, and anything less, you know, it's just not good enough for Kenny. And that's a little bit of pressure on me, but I pretty much feel the same way, that I have to ride 100%. I have to feel 100% in order to do my job. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't think I'd be in this game, because that's what it takes, total dedication and 100% pushing yourself.
And finally, what about Kenny Roberts himself? A perfectionist, a team manager who can still go out on the track and do the job. Does he sometimes wish he can jump on the bike and do it comes naturally rather than play the diplomatic role of a teacher?
Yeah, I have to say that I do. It's very difficult for a rider. You know, I'm probably just smart enough to realize that everybody does it differently. And I try not to rush up to them as soon as they stop the bike and say, yeah, you know, you can go around this corner faster than that. And, you know, I have to hold myself back at times until they ask. You know, I said, well, hey, what do you think about this corner, you know? I feel like I'm doing, yeah, it looks to me a little bit like you're not doing that. And I'm really trying to be more helpful than saying, hey, you know, you're not doing this right. And unless you do it right, I'm going to kick you in the butt or something.
It doesn't appear that Kenny Roberts will be required to waste any shoe leather on either of his teammates as they run 1-2 coming through the corkscrew. Number 8, Momola leads at number 1. Baldwin is second of the Nissan 200, and a duel it has been. Number 8, Randy Momola still leads it. Number 1, Baldwin, who led it for a while, is right behind him. And in fact, there would probably be any final strategies, you'd have to start employing them now, wouldn't you, Keith?
That's right. It's interesting that Momola was able to catch Baldwin while Baldwin had such a big lead. But now that Momola is up there, Baldwin is staying right with him. It looks... Oh, wow. There it is. There are the tire problems we were talking about earlier, Bruce.
And Baldwin was not able to capitalize on it right there. He could not get by Momola. Now, wouldn't that bother him, running as close as he is to Momola and seeing those kind of things happen?
Absolutely. I think that Mike would have passed him otherwise, but he probably had a little heart thumper right there at that point. I know I would have.
Down through the corkscrew they come, and still Momola holds on to the lead. But if you want Baldwin any closer to him, you got to tie him together with shoelaces. And here comes some traffic as they get ready to break for turn number 9.
Turn number 9 is a place where you can get through traffic if you're set up right. You've got to be set up right to get around them. Whoa, there's Momola. Definitely having a tire problem here, Bruce.
All right, and it puts Baldwin back out in front. And as we look, right in front of Baldwin is the 4th place rider. You got it, folks. They're about to lap Randy Renfro, the 4th place rider. They have really been setting us tempo around this racetrack. Baldwin can't get by him either. It looks like Renfro's a little tough to get around.
Definitely. Renfro's out there. He hasn't been running as fast as them. He probably doesn't have the same tire problem that those guys do.
Well, it's been a great battle up until now. We're watching it all the way down to the checkered flag as they go underneath the Camel Pro Bridge. Momola has closed back up. They're both now around Randy Renfro, and here is the kind of a forgotten man. Number 99, sitting third, Cork Ballington. He rides for Bob McLean on a thing called Team McLean. In fact, there's Bob right now. And we had a chance to visit with them and find out how their whole act comes together.
The term privateer usually connotates an image of greasy overalls, backyard mechanics, and bologna sandwiches. But not here at McLean Racing. It's as close to a factory effort as you can get.
McLean's racing effort is certainly the top profit effort in the USA, and it's on a par with the factory efforts here, I believe.
I would be less than honest if I did not say that there's a great deal of psychic income that I get from doing this. However, I believe there is a marketing opportunity here for somebody that wants to sell something, and that's why I'm spending my time and some of my funds to try to put on a good show to attract major sponsorship to the sport.
Attracting sponsor dollars is of paramount importance to a team owner with a stable of top-notch bikes and a four-time world champion on salary. How important is doing well in front of many prospective sponsors here at Laguna Seca?
Very important for exposure purpose to be on the front row, to be in the race, to be competitive. And of course, with some of our top riders from the Grand Prix circuit coming back here, it's going to be very, very difficult. But this is the centerpiece of American road racing as far as we're concerned. The top GP stars, our top teams in the Camel Series, all here in one format, and I think this to us is the most important race of the year.
It is a very important race for Bob McLean and his rider, Cork Ballington. But right now, I think it is more important for number 1, Mike Baldwin, and number 8, Randy Momola. Momola, a 3-time winner here. Baldwin never has. The crowd, if they're rooting for anybody, they're rooting for the local guy, Randy Momola.
You bet. 3-time winner here, Northern California guy. Definitely, Randy Momola is the crowd's favorite. Right now, both of them have to deal with the 2 T's of racing, tires and traffic. And we'll see how they do with it.
They're coming down this time. When they hit the Nissan stripe, there will be only 1 lap left after 2 100-kilometer legs in this Nissan 200. And I'm telling you, folks, this one has been worth the price of admission. Turn number 9 for the next to the last time. Who's in front of it? Baldwin out of Darien, Connecticut. Momola still with traction problems, Keith, as they go out for their final time around.
You can see what Randy's doing coming out of turn 9 there, Bruce. He's trying to make it up on the straightaway, and he's pulling wheelies because of it. He doesn't have traction in the turn. He's widening the turns out as much as possible, using absolutely the last few inches of asphalt, as you can see there, trying to keep his bike more upright so that he can use more of the center of the tire.
3 different times, Randy Momola has been second place in the World Championships. He knows what second place is all about. He hates second place, and I think he wants the win here yet. Less than half a lap to go, and Momola 1 bike length behind him as they come up to the blind corner and then the corkscrew.
About all he can do at this point, Bruce, is try to intimidate Baldwin. You see him putting a wheel in on him occasionally. There he is trying to get it underneath. He wants to show Baldwin a wheel. He wants to try to spook him out and get in front of him.
After 200 kilometers, there are now 2 turns left before the checkered flag and the big payout. If Baldwin gets there first, he wins overall. Brakes on heavy duty for turn 9. If Momola's got a trick left, it's got to be played right now.
This is it. This is the last shot. All it is a straightaway left, Bruce, and it doesn't look like Momola's going to make it. Baldwin's got the drive. He's trying to get in it. No, that's it.
That was one exciting race. You can see him waving his hand right now. We're going to be coming back. Area where the Nissan 200 has come to a climactic end. Let's go down now to Dennis Torres, who's ready with the winner, Mike Baldwin.
Down here at Winter Circle with a big winner on the weekend, Mike Baldwin. Mike, you've raced a long time to finally get a factory ride and to get a Formula One here at Laguna Seca. It looks like 1986 has brought both to you.
Well, it has. I'll tell you, the U.S. Championship was a tough one for me for 5 years. I won it, but I'll tell you, all those years, I've been coming here since 1977, my first race here, and been trying like crazy to win it. I've been third, I've been second. It just feels terrific to win and give Kenny Roberts' team his first victory at Laguna Seca.
Mike, take me through that last lap, you and Randy battling it out to the start-finish line.
It was a battle. It was hectic, and I think what it all boils down to is we have dead equal bikes, and we're very, very equal riders, and the only other factor is luck. And coming down to those last few laps with the back markers coming up on us, it was a matter of who got them where, And we as riders can't control that. That's destiny, and it was good luck on my side. I got by some of the guys when I did, and like I said, I came here to win, and I'm glad to win. I wanted to win this one.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thanks.
Mike Baldwin, the big winner here at the Nissan 200.
The results of this thrilling Formula One race are now official. Mike Baldwin, by virtue of his finish of #1 in the final leg, ends up with the overall win. Randy Mamola nails down the second-place spot. Cork Ballington for Team McLean, an outstanding ride to end up third place. Randy Renfro caught fourth overall, and the Canadian Gary Goodfellow ended up fifth. Let's go back now to Dennis Torres.
Okay, we're down here with second place man, Randy Mamola. Randy, that was one of the tightest tussles we've ever seen here. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it got really shaky towards the end, about the last 5 laps. You know, we came across a lot of slow riders, and, you know, those tires were sliding around a lot. We ran, I think it had to be a fastest pace ever, and I'm sure it demolished the lap record as far as the race record. And, you know, it felt good to be right there at the end. When I got the lead, I just couldn't trust myself to push it just a little bit harder. You know, I have to think about next week. We got to go back to Grand Prix racing, and, you know, as I said earlier, I'm 10 points behind Eddie Lawson, and unfortunately he had a bad accident in the first leg of this race. And I hope he's all right and he comes back into it. But I really have to concentrate on next week and the week after. But I'm just glad to be able to come here and run the Nissan 200 and do such a good job.
Well, congratulations on a second-place performance and a thrilling performance here in front of, I think, your fans.
Thank you.
Randy Mamola, #2, but maybe #1 with the fans.
Well, thank you, Dennis Torres. A fine job from Victory Circle and everywhere else you were today. Boy, the Sports Car Racing Association of the Monterey Peninsula really knows how to put on a motorcycle road race. Keith Cote, your final thoughts on this weekend's event?
This was amazing racing. We saw 4 incredible shows. We saw in the Formula 2, Don Green take the win. He clinched his 3rd Formula 2 title. We saw Marco Lucanelli, former Formula 1 world champion, and possibly his last race. We saw Wayne Rainey in a runaway victory, his 5th in a row in the United States. We saw Mike Baldwin come home from a year on the Grand Prix circuit over there and really just decimate the competition. Fantastic racing.
They call it the Nissan 200, and I'll tell you what, you can take this to the bank. We'll be back here next year.
The 1986 Nissan 200 has been brought to you by Nissan, who invites you to test drive the totally new 1987 Nissan Stanza at your Nissan dealer now. Yamaha, built for the fun of it. And by Honda Motorcycles. Honda, follow the leader.
Promotional fee and consideration.
It was